Welcome, Bunnies.
Hello everybody, Kieran aka the Laird here, and this is a rather special video because this is my 10,000 subscriber Q&A. Because I hit 10,000 subscribers overnight on Saturday night into Sunday. I knew I was getting there because I did post, I put a post up a few weeks back asking people for questions, getting ready to do this. I did mean to actually have this filmed ready for sort of as I hit it, but I've had so much going on in the real world that I'm a little bit late getting this recorded, because honestly it's just been crazy here, which is one reason why I've been missing a lot of my community posts actually on YouTube. A few people have asked like where some of the polls have been and stuff like that. It's just been nuts here because number one, I've been planning and organising the first Comic Con for the town where I live, Luton. Our very first Comic Con. I've been organising that with some other people. That was Saturday just gone. That was an enormous success. We sold out of tickets several days before the event even started. We managed to secure a little bit more space in the venue just before the actual day. So we actually managed to increase our capacity slightly and let in some people on the door on the day. But we ended up actually selling over twice as many tickets as we originally thought we would. So incredible success. At one point, we actually had to stop letting people in because it was so busy. We had so many amazing people from around the town. We had the mayor there. We had both our MPs there. We had various councillors there. We had a couple of actors there, local famous actors. We had all sorts of amazing people there, and it was just an incredible event. The feedback online has been phenomenal. And I will get some videos of the Comic Con up at some point, but because I was so busy all day, I wasn't able to do any filming myself. So the filming has all been done by other people. Actually, we had some professional people doing a lot of the filming, so that's even better for me and you. But I'll be getting some photos and videos up online the next few weeks from there. Taken by me and other people on this channel and on the official Luton Comic Con channel, which is another channel that we have going now for all the people involved with that. We've got lots of great volunteers helping out with that as well. It's not just me. Really great team of people that I had working with me to put that event on. Fantastic. But while that's going on, I also had a death in the family, a very close member of the family, which has been pretty hard to deal with everything else going on, and we've had to sort out their entire estate, including their house and everything, and that's just been an absolute nightmare, to be honest, and that's taken up a hell of a lot of my time as well. Dealing with that, it's been a very tough time recently in many regards, but I won't go on too much more about that because this is expected to be a celebration of the Laird's Lair and hitting 10,000 subscribers. So I'm so thankful to everyone out there who has subscribed, who has commented, who's liked posts, who's backed me on Patreon, who's become a member, who's helps me with the social media side of things. Everybody, too many people to name, and I just thank everybody who's helped me make this channel successful and grow this wonderful community of people I've had. I mean, I've had a YouTube channel before, but I didn't have the community that I've got now. Such amazing people who are there on every post, commenting and providing feedback, and so many of my videos come about because of things that you tell me and things that you suggest, or paths that you send me down in research and things like that. So I really thank all of you. You've been absolutely wonderful, and you've given some great questions for this video as well, which I'm going to try not to make too long, because when I did my 5,000 subscribers video, which went down fairly well, which is one reason why I'm doing this one, the video was so long, and I realised afterwards that I probably made it too long, so I'm going to try and keep this one a little bit shorter. So I have actually singled it down. I did get asked a lot of questions in different places across all the different platforms, social media and Patreon and YouTube and stuff. I've cut it down to 10 questions because actually one thing is that a lot of the questions that people asked I actually covered in the last Q&A. So I'm going to link that down below in the description. So that video might answer some of your questions. Actually, I will mention a couple of ones that I did answer in the previous video, so I don't want to clash and answer the same questions again. There was also some people who asked me like loads of questions. I can't answer. I don't want to sit here and like answer 5 questions from the same person. So in that respect, I'm very sorry for not reading out all your questions, but I've answered the one that I thought was the best one of the lot. So yeah, so we'll go ahead and answer some of these questions, but I just want to sort of get that stuff out of the way at the beginning and say thank you. So I'm sitting here in front of my bookshelf in my office. I thought this was a good place to film, being that one of the questions is very much related to some of the stuff behind me. But the first question I'm going to read out because it's an important one. Is Syntax Error 999 said, I have a question. What is the voice saying at the beginning of your videos? Welcome Fun Runner, welcome Gun Runner, welcome Drug Runner. I get asked this at least once a week. Probably more. I get it asked so much, and I always reply, but I'm just going to cover it here anyway. I mean, I did tell him, but I mean, the variations on what people think it says, some of them are absolutely hilarious. I mean, I can't think of apart. He's put the best, the 3 that I get the most: welcome Fun Runner, Gun Runner, and Drug Runner. I get those into a lot. Bum Runner is one that people say a lot, which I thought was always thinks quite funny as well. It's a lot of what a lot of people think it says. Someone sort of said welcome my lover, which is a very West Country thing, which really made me laugh as well, having lived in the West Country of England, where a lot of people say my lover a lot, or my lover, like that. But there we go. So that made me laugh a lot. But yeah, it's welcome Stun Runner, of course it is, and it's taken specifically from the Atari Lynx port of the game, but the sample is the same as the one used in the Atari Arcade game. So they basically just took the sample and reused it on the Lynx, the same sample of a lady saying "Welcome Stun Runner." Yeah, that's all there is to it. It's just that it's Welcome Stun Runner. Stun Runner was one of my favourite Lynx games. When I first started the channel, I really liked that sample. It was also 15 seconds long, which is ideal for an intro. I started using it on a few videos. Loads of people really loved it. Thought it was such a cool intro, so I started using it in all my videos. And then a few times I thought about changing it because I've used it for so long. But a couple of times I said I was thinking about changing it, and everyone's gone, no, don't change your intro, it's amazing. And actually, some person said recently that even his wife, who doesn't like anything to do with video games, every time she hears him watch one of my videos, she goes, oh, I love that intro. So that was cool. Someone who's completely unrelated to video games. So yeah, there we go. Second question here. Streethawk777 said, how long have I been involved in the games industry? Do I just write? What other things have I done? Basically, to paraphrase a little bit. I've been writing since 2004. I just started writing for websites in my spare time. It was a hobby alongside my day job. I used to, for most of my career, I worked in retail management. I worked for some really big chains, some of the biggest retailers in the country. I was also a training and development officer for one of those. And I also did a bit of bar management. I lived abroad for 2.5 years in the Canary Islands. Still go there a lot. I ran a bar out there, which was great fun as well. So it wasn't a career. Probably started taking it really seriously. I don't know now. Because there has been periods where I've done other jobs as well, but I'd say probably when I've taken it really seriously, like it's been my real main thing where I haven't been doing any other jobs of any kind. It'll probably be the last like 4 or 5 years, really. So I don't know. That kind of answers that, I suppose. Right since 2004, but probably it's been my, I suppose, main profession, not doing other things for about 4 or 5 years. Have I done other things? Yeah, I've done little bits and pieces, mostly writing because that's my passion. I also worked with a games publisher years ago to help them write and proof instruction manuals and stories for their games. I can't say a lot of who people I've worked for because I have NDAs which I cannot break. So therefore, excuse me for not mentioning names of people, but anyone who's worked in the games industry will know everything is NDA driven and you can't break NDAs or you get in a lot of trouble. So I've also helped 2 different publishers, modern day ones, helping to find rights owners for games. Mainly because when I was working for Retro Gamer for 7 odd years, I interviewed so many people within the games industry, especially over in America actually, where I tracked down a lot of really obscure um, software house owners and programmers and stuff. And these companies wanted to basically find out who owned those games to acquire them for various reasons. So I helped both of those companies basically just put them in contact with those people to help them acquire the games, using some relationships I've made in the industry, which is kind of fun doing that, and some of these get some of these people sort of back out in their old stomping ground, so to speak, and people who hadn't worked in the games industry for years and suddenly kind of become part of it again because their games are getting noticed and recognised again all these years later from being re-released and stuff like that. So I've done a little bit of that. I've done some testing for homebrew games and stuff like that over the years, just for odd different people, especially a few Jaguar games that I did testing on, but nothing big. But my main thing in this industry, I suppose, in the gaming industry, it's always been writing. I suppose YouTubing, you could say as well. But if anyone asks me what I do for a living, I always say I'm a writer. That's what I always say. That's the main thing I've done for so many years now with the books and magazines, and writing for other people as well. So I've done a lot of writing for other people, other YouTubers. Still am helping other YouTubers with things on the side when I've got time. So and other people's books I've helped out, and obviously loads of other people's books over the years as well. People like Ashens and Guru Larry and Brett Weiss and God, yeah, loads of different people that I've contributed to. 8-Bit Book was another one I worked on, helped out with, and yeah, I've made various contributions to different people's books over the years. So and that leads me nicely on to the next question, which was, what's your favourite book that you've written and why? From long-time supporter and great guy all round, Mr. Sejanoz. Great supporter of the channel. Always comments on the videos and gives great input. And I suppose my one that I think I would say first is, because I've got them behind me, would be my Atari 8-Bit book. This is the original one I did with AG Books, the Atari 8-Bit Compendium, and obviously this is the new version that I'll come out. Actually, that's the proof version, but it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. That's my proof version. But that's the new version, which is obviously much bigger, much improved, loads more content in it, tons more. I've reviewed both on the channel, but I say that book purely because it's my best-selling book. The original one, this one that I did with AG Books, sold over 3,000 copies. The new one's selling quite well as well. So yeah, so that's by far of them all the books I did with AG Books. So my 2600 book, Amstrad Spectrum, etc. ST, Master System. That's by far the best-selling book by quite a long distance. That one followed by Commodore 64, if you want to know what the second one was. But the Atari 8-Bit book definitely is my favourite book, and actually the original one that I did with AG Books was the first one I did in my newer format, where I put interviews into the book as well. The previous two I did to that was Atari 2600 and Spectrum. They didn't have developer interviews. And then again, when I chose to start self-publishing through Amazon and I started redoing some of my books, I did the Atari 8-Bit book first. One, because it was my best-selling book, but two, because there was some, I wanted to tweak the concept a bit more by adding in the history stuff at the beginning, which I've done with that. That was the first book I did that with, and obviously now I'm following that template from all books forward. So it's quite an important book for me in many ways. But a book I contributed to, well known that I contributed to, of course, was Bitmap's Atari 2600 7800 Compendium. The massive thing that it is. I was very proud to work on that because obviously it meant that I got to work with Atari. It's an officially licensed book, so Atari had to approve everything that was written for it, which was pretty cool. I mean, it says that on the back of the book there, and actually inside the cover, of course, there is a lovely credit to me, which is there. So that's at the top there, which, if you can't read that, says Kieran Hawken for the writing, interviews, and invaluable advice. So thank you very much. I was very proud to be part of that book, and a lovely credit to me inside the cover as well. Very, very nice. So yeah, that was a great book to be involved with all round, because it was just such a labour of love, and obviously it came out so nicely. You know, with all the big colour pages, totally different to my kind of books, because this is a very visual book, obviously being a visual compendium. But yeah, I'd say that one as well. But for my own books, definitely Atari 8-bit. A compendium of Atari 8-bit games, to use the proper name. Next one was Craig Stanaway. I like this question. He said, you have all sorts of animals like cats, rabbits, chickens, a horse and a dog, question mark. How many animals do you have, and what are their names? And with all those animals and pets, I was wondering if you live on a farm, and have you considered making a series of videos combining a love of retro and all your animals, maybe playing your Lynx while riding a horse, or getting your chickens to have an elimination tournament of best games by picking at the boxes and remove them until one remains. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you that I don't have any chickens, so I couldn't even do that anyway. I don't have any chickens at all. I'm not sure where you got that one from, but no chickens. Cats, yes, 5. Rabbits, yes, 2. The cats, I think all the cats have appeared in my videos at some point, going from oldest to youngest. There's Bertie, then there's Jasper, then there's Daisy, and then there's a brother and sister, Rufus and Rosie. I think they've all been in my videos at some point. The 2 bunnies, Ernie and Enid. Got those 2. We've got a hamster called Mildred. We have a horse called Bella. She's a mini Shetland. We don't ride her anymore because she's too old. So no one can ride her anymore. But I could ride her anyway. I'm far too big. She's a mini Shetland. So, and we have tropical fish and pond fish as well. So we don't live on a farm. We just live in a normal house. But we have lots of animals because my wife and I are both animal lovers. And every single one of our animals is a rescue. Every single one of them. All of them. So yeah, we're very proud to have done our bit in that regard. So yeah, that's we don't have a dog. We used to have a dog, but we don't anymore. So that's why I didn't mention dog. We have them in the past because I think the dog. There was an old video that I re-uploaded recently. Actually, we could hear my old dog barking in the background. But yeah, no dog anymore. So that's that. There's that one answered for you. I'm sure my animals will appear in videos in the future. Maybe I should get one of my rabbits in one of the videos. That'd be cool if I get them to stay still for long enough. They're very active bunnies, and they live in the garden. They run around as they wish. We don't keep them cooped up in a hutch. They only put them in a hutch at night. In the day, they just run around the garden as they please. Colin McDonald, another long-time supporter of the channel, comments on all the videos and provides some great insight and stuff. Thank you once again, Colin, for everything you do for the channel. Congrats. My question is, why were the computer console market so divided in the 80s and gradually less so from the 90s onwards? And what was the last UK exclusive holdout? So obviously he's talking about the difference between the North American market specifically and the UK European markets, which was so different, especially in the 80s. So why were they so divided? I think you can really put that down to one thing. The market in America was very console focused, from obviously the Atari 2600 onwards, and then obviously there was a short period in the US where computers started to take over, like after the video game crash, where you saw the Commodore 64 gain a lot of popularity, the Atari 8-bit, Apple II, all those computers that were around then, but especially the Commodore 64 and the IBM PC as well, of course, can't forget that. But then the NES came in 1985, and then it started to swing backwards again. So I only had a short period really where computers were the main gaming platform, I suppose. Although not entirely. I think that's often over-egged a bit. Speaking to Americans, a lot of Americans say they didn't really notice a crash, while others said they did. So, but in the UK we didn't have a crash. In Europe we didn't have a crash at all. I hate it when people say the video game crash, talking like it's a worldwide thing, because it wasn't. It didn't happen anywhere else in the world apart from North America. It certainly didn't affect the UK at all, really. And that's because in the UK, home computers were very much the thing. The Atari 2600 sold pretty well in the late 70s, early 80s. But then in 1982, a computer called the ZX Spectrum came along, which I'm sure you're aware of. and that really took the market by storm in the UK, and computers became the thing, and also across a lot of Europe as well. The Spectrum has successful in a few other countries like Spain, notably, but then the Commodore 64 was hugely successful in like Italy and Germany, Atari 8-bit in Germany, Atari 8-bit in Eastern Europe. So other computers were successful in different regions. The MSX came in, that was very popular in Spain as well, and other parts of Europe. So yeah, we were very home computer focused. The market in America was so console focused. So because we were so computer focused, there was all these European and British computers that came out that didn't really make it over to America, and were just trying to compete within the European market. Plus the American machines that came over as well, like the Commodore 64, of course, and Apple. So that's why they were so divided. They were just different markets. Europe and the UK was very focused on home computers. The US North American market was very focused on consoles. So in terms of the last holdout, I thought about this one a lot before filming the video, and I think it has to be the Amstrad CPC. Obviously designed by Amstrad, and the owner of Amstrad, Alan Sugar, or Sir Alan Sugar as he is now, who's a big entrepreneur, got involved in mainly electronics, but also owned Tottenham Hotspur Football Club for a while, the team I support actually. And also he was involved with making the dishes for Sky TV, so that was a big thing for him, his company. But Amstrad were involved in lots of things. They got into kind of real estate and stuff later on, I believe, as well. But yeah, in 1990, Amstrad followed up the pretty successful CPC with the CPC Plus enhanced version with new graphics chip and better sound and stuff like that. And they also released the failed GX4000 console, of course. They both arrived in 1990, both British designed, both released in the UK first and then into Europe, France as well. Amstrad were very strong in France. They were the most popular 8-bit computer in France. But both failed, unfortunately, because by then, obviously 1990, the consoles were very much taking over the market. People were more using computers for more serious stuff a bit more. But also, you've got to remember the ST and Amiga around at that point. No one wanted an 8-bit computer when they could buy an ST and Amiga that did so much more. And the upgrades in the Amstrad weren't enough to obviously make people choose it over an ST or an Amiga. I mean, you could buy one of those. I bought an ST in 1990, so you could buy an ST or an Amiga for, if you bought one second hand, for less than it cost to buy the Amstrad computers new. So it's a no-brainer. It's not a surprise it failed, but that would be the one, the Amstrad CPC Plus range and the GX4000 console. They would have been the last holdouts, I suppose, in the UK before it became more of a global market with the Mega Drive, SNES, obviously into the PlayStation, etc. Then next question was another long-time supporter of the channel, GT Sound Artifacts over in Brazil. Wonderful contributor. Some of his posts and contributions to the channel are amazing, especially when I do my greatest full-time videos. Some of his insights and explanations and stuff like that are just amazing. I love reading his stuff. Really cool. He said, I wonder if you'd like to make some episodes dedicated to the best music and sounds from different retro systems and games. Would you be interested in doing that? I actually did that a lot on my old channel. A lot of my old channel was dedicated to chiptunes, especially I did a series called Chiptune Challenge, which is comparing the same music across lots of different platforms. So for example, say the music from, let's say, Golden Axe, and then I compare it across all computers and consoles and let people decide which version had the best music. I also did like compilation videos for chiptune musicians, for example, Ben Dalglish or Rob Hubbard. So I do like all of Rob Hubbard's pokey music, all of Ben Dalglish's pokey music. I did like Tim Follin as well, Spectrum music or whatever. So I did all these different people, mainly ST, Spectrum and Atari 8-bit, but I did do other formats as well. I did like my best favourite chiptunes for the Mega Drive, favourite chiptunes for the PC Engine, all stuff like that. I did videos like that. But I kept getting hit with copyright strikes. That was ultimately actually what took the channel down, was that copyright strikes for music videos. So that's why when I relaunched and did the new channel, I haven't put any chip music stuff on there, because I just don't want to get the copyright strikes that I got last time. And a lot of them were totally bogus as well. Copyright strikes from people who didn't even own the music and they got away with it. So I didn't want to risk it. So yes, I would love to. And I have actually thought about doing it maybe as a second channel and just not monetizing any of the videos. So therefore you can get away with it a bit more if you're not monetizing the content. Uh, but I probably would still get strikes. But I may do it as a second channel. I've still got all the old videos that I could upload if I wanted to. Um, so maybe, but probably not. Just purely for that reasoning. It's so annoying getting all the copyright strikes and having to deal with them. Next question was from Robert Cross, who asked me how I record my gameplay footage and how long it takes to edit the content. Gameplay footage, I generally use my phone because I've got a Pixel 7 and it's got a really good camera. So I generally use that. I've never bothered with having a different camera. I've always used mobile phones because I've always really had the latest mobile phones. I like my mobile phone tech, so I tend to get new phones just pretty much as soon as they are out. And at the moment, Google Pixel 7, I absolutely love the phone. It's fantastic, great camera. So I generally use that to film everything. And editing software, I use Magix Vegas. It used to be Sony Vegas, now Magix Vegas. Someone recommended that software to me years ago. It's actually Slope's Game Room. They recommended it to me, DJ Slope. And it took me a long time to get to grips with it because it was so totally new to me. And I'm still learning stuff even now that I didn't know about it and how to use it. So that's what I use to edit and make my videos. In terms of how long it takes, depends on the video. Totally depends on the video. If I do like a documentary or an amazing facts video, which are the two most intensive videos that I make, it generally takes me one day, whole day to write and research the video, and then the next day I will spend the whole day putting the video together, editing it, etc. Yeah, it always takes me pretty much a whole day to do that. Yeah, so it's a long process, and that's literally just for like a 20-minute or so video. Sorry, I had to pause it and come back there. I don't know if you heard a really loud rumbling in the background before before it jumped there to now. But yeah, the sound got louder and louder. I wonder what the hell it was. I've just gone to the back of my house, which I'm at the front of my house now. But I went to the back of my house, and the road behind my house, there was just a vintage steamroller coming down the street, and it was so loud. I mean, a proper coal-powered vintage steamroller, plumes of smoke coming out of it, made the most horrendous noise on the road. It's probably damaged the road, to be honest. And the roads around here are so terrible that it's probably ruined the road. But yeah, that's what was coming past my house. Not every day you see one of those. Very bizarre indeed. But yeah, let's get back to where I was with that. So the next question is from Ethicade. And he said, is there any console that wasn't released in your country which you wish was? A good question. Another one I had to think about loads before I made this video. But I think the one console, it was kind of released here, and it goes back to the last video I made, and I wish it was properly released here, is the PC Engine TurboGrafx. I think if they'd have got that out early over here, I think it could have been really successful if they got it at a decent price and got it out earlier. And I wish like one of the big companies who had big distribution in the UK at that time, so for example, perhaps Amstrad or Atari even, or someone who had a good foothold in the UK and Europe at that time. I wish they'd maybe picked it up, licensed it and released it or distributed it in the UK and Europe, because I think it could have been pretty successful. I love the Hue card format. It's a really powerful machine. I think it could have been really good if they'd got it out before the Mega Drive, especially, just as consoles started to become quite popular in this country. I think the PC Engine could have done really well. So, I mean, it did kind of get a rubbish release, which I've talked about in videos, so I'm not going to go over that again. But yeah, I wish the PC Engine had got a proper big UK release in, say, 88 or 89, I think would have been brilliant. So that's my answer to that one. Can you please explain your nickname? Lucas Moura, sorry. Not Lucas Moura, he played for Spurs, that's why I've got that name in my head. Lewis Moura, can you please explain your nickname? I did that in my last 5,000 subscribers video. Right at the very end of that video, I talked about that in detail. So I'm not going to go into that here. If you want to know that, go and watch that video. Or watch the end of that video, so you have to watch the whole thing then. And he said, name the best video game from each 2600 publisher. God, that would take absolutely ages. So I'll name a few from the biggest publishers, I suppose. And I'm just going to go with probably the first games that spring to mind. So from Atari themselves, it would be Solaris. From Activision. Oh, what is my favourite Activision game? because Activision released so many really good ones on the 2600. I'm quite tempted to say Hero because I really do like Hero. Um, but I also really love some of the later stuff they did, like Kung Fu Master, Double Dragon Rampage. So it's a really difficult one to answer that. Um, they did so many good. I mean, the River Raid games were great. I'm gonna stick with Hero for the moment. That's the first one that sprung to mind, so I'll stick with Hero. What other ones are there? M Network, probably my favourite M Network. Deadly Disc. I've got great memories of playing Deadly Discs. I loved Tron Deadly Discs. So yeah, that would be probably maybe. So Mattel Bump and Jump's good for Mattel as well. But we'll say Deadly Discs. Who else was there? Parker Brothers. Um, Parker Brothers did some good stuff. And actually, the one that springs to mind, one of the ones that springs to mind is actually Star Wars Death Star Battle, which I don't think gets enough love. But actually, it has to be Frogger, doesn't it? That's the best one they did. Frogger was so good. Their version of Frogger, brilliant. Who else? In Magic, Atlantis, I'd go with. Atlantis was a brilliant kind of missile command style game. Trying to think, we had Epics. So California Games was fantastic. The Epics did. What other 2600 publishers were that? I mean, I think I've covered, I suppose, the main ones there. I can't really think of another big one that springs to mind. You see, then you start to go into people like Data Age, which most of this Data Age stuff was rubbish. The Frankenstein's Monster is really good, so I'll give that a little mention for Data Age. Oh, there was 20th Century Fox. They did some quite decent stuff. I really like Bank Heist that 20th Century Fox did. That's a really good game, so I want to give that a mention. Not talked about enough. US games, I suppose they were a fairly big one. Commando Raid was really good by US games. Trying to think if there's anyone else that's really obvious that I've left out on the third party people. Oh, Coleco, I suppose they're one of the biggest, aren't they? Did a lot of stuff. See, a lot of Coleco stuff wasn't that great on the 2600, was it? I liked Smurf. Smurf was pretty decent. A bit easy though, but it looked gorgeous. It didn't put a lot of effort into most of the 2600 games, Coleco, but with Smurf they did. So that's a good one. Oh, CBS Electronics, there's another good one as well. They did some good stuff. I'd say Mr. Do's Castle was a good one. Or did Parker do Mr. Do's Castle? And CBS did the original Mr. Do. So it might be the original Mr. Do. Mr. Do's pretty good. Oh, they did Wizard of War as well. That was another good one. I know. There we go. I hope that answers. So I've gone through quite a lot of different ones there. And the very last question I'm going to read out is because it literally relates to my last video. So I did that greatest PC Engine games of all time video. So follows on from that, and he actually asked on that video, so I'm including it here. He asked me what my favourite PC Engine games were, because in the video I mentioned that I thought Blazing Lasers should have been a lot higher, because that probably is my favourite PC Engine games. It would be Blazing Lasers would be my number one. I think if I was going to name, I mean, possibly the best shoot 'em up ever, Blazing Lasers. I absolutely love it. Raiden would get a shout as well though. So yeah, Blazing Lasers is absolutely incredible game. Any of the Bomberman 93 springs to mind. That's really good. I love Splatterhouse. That's brilliant. I love Crater Maze. Crater Maze doesn't get enough love. I really like Crater Maze. Devil Crash, obviously amazing. Or Devil Crush, whatever you call it. That's one of the best by far. Metal Stoker, massively underrated. PC Engine exclusive. People don't talk about Metal Stoker enough. Volfied is another one I want to mention. Great conversion of the title arcade game. Didn't appear in enough formats. I loved the SD version of Volfied. But later played the PC Engine version and the Mega Drive version. On CD, a game on the CD, PC Engine CD that doesn't get mentioned anywhere near enough. I'm going to mention it here. Game Ground SX, so much better than the Mega Drive version and the arcade version. Improves it loads. Game Ground SX should get a mention, I think. Ninja Spirit, brilliant conversion of a brilliant arcade game. I never played it in the arcade though till later years. I originally played it on the Spectrum and then the ST, and then later played the brilliant PC Engine version. So I'll give Ninja Spirit a mention as well, because that's another one. Big favourite of mine. And it's an obvious one, but I mean, my greatest of all time, it was Castlevania Rondo of Blood that won it. I'm generally not a massive fan of Castlevania games, but even I thought Rondo of Blood was absolutely incredible. So yeah, there's some stuff for the PC Engine. And that's it really. So once again, thank you all for supporting my channel. That's 10,000 subscribers done. Onwards and upwards. I'd love to be able to get to 20, maybe a year or so from now. That'd be great, wouldn't it? If I'm sitting here in a year celebrating 20,000 subscribers, I'd love that. But yeah, thank you very much all for watching the channel. Thank you for commenting. And if you've got any more questions you want to ask, feel free to put them down below and I'll answer them for you. As always, I've been the Laird. I thank you all for watching. I'll see you all again for another video very soon. Bye bye.